India, the land of gods. The nation has been blessed by the grace of sacred souls that took their birth in India and revealed to humankind the true meaning and value of spirituality through their compassionate and illuminating words, through the intensity of their meditation and yogic practices, and by the virtuous and exemplary manner through which they live their lives. We have heard of the glories of several yogis who, despite their earthly and mortal existence, attained the pinnacle of spirituality by following a path of rigorous discipline and devotion without entangling themselves into the illusions of this world. This is the story of one such extraordinary being who achieved the summit of spiritual prowess whilst living amongst us in the 20th century. A self-realized yogi who had mastery over the 5 elements of nature, a sublime avatar, Guru Surajanandha. An enlightened ascetic who demonstrated the ability to transcend time and space, showering his grace to alter the course of so many people's lives. There are 4 pathways to attain spirituality. Guru Surajanandha is a rare being who attained an exalted divine state, walking through all 4 pathways in one lifetime. The 4 paths being Bhakti Margam, the path of devotion, Karma Margam, the path of fulfilling one's worldly duties, Jnana Margam, the path of wisdom, and Yoga Margam, the path of merging the mind, body, and spirit and attaining unison with the all-pervading cosmic energy. He was born on the 12th of June 1938 in Madurai on a full moon day, which is considered auspicious in Vedic astrology. He was the second son among 4 children to Mr. Sethu Narayan Rao and Mrs. Padmavati Ammar, a couple hailing from the Madhwa tradition. His parents named him Sundararajan. When he was 10 years of age, his mother passed away. He grew up under the nurturing care of his stepmother, Srimati Jayalakshmi Ammar. As a child, Sundararajan was different from other children his age. He was gifted with intelligence and a keen interest in music, in particular an interest in the ancient percussion instrument of mridangam. He had a natural affinity towards Lord Hanuman, Sri Raghavendra Swamigal and Shirdi Sai Baba. At the age of 10, he wrote and sang his first song in praise of Sri Raghavendra Swamigal, which startled those in his family. From that tender age, he would foresee and predict events that would befall on those around him. Sundararajan was seen as a child with supernatural abilities. These events during his childhood were considered as both strange and playful by those around him. It was only later on that they would realize their true significance and import. Sundararajan as a child would be able to foretell and envision questions that would come up in examinations at school. The young boy felt this wasn't just or righteous and discontinued his education as a result, with the permission of his father. It was during this time that he came into contact with an occult saint, Sri Krishna Iyer, who recognized the divine radiance in the young Sundararajan. He learned some intricacies of worshipping the deities from Krishna Iyer. Sundararajan was drawn to the strength, devotion, and physical aptitude of Lord Hanuman. This inspired him to pursue bodybuilding. He trained intensely and also engaged in other sports. He won the prestigious title of Mr. Madurai at the age of 17. As he matured towards adulthood, the seed of spirituality within him started to flourish and grow. He would suddenly observe silence for long periods of time. When asked why, he would say there was a deep longing for silence. He would close his eyes and sense a wheel spinning over his head, emanating a bright and almost blinding light. Although these were experiences that he was unable to comprehend at the time, they were a testament to his natural and inborn spiritual abilities. His artistic flair, muscular physique, and interest in the creative arts lured him to the city of Chennai, where he stayed with his elder sister, pursuing opportunities for work. Despite possessing innate spiritual abilities, as a result of several lifetimes' worth of penance, there is a need for the grace of a guru to guide a destined aspirant unto his or her destined path. For this purpose, a godlike celestial saint, Dattananda, entered Sundarajan's life. Dattananda, a disciple of Mahayogi Swayambhrakasa Swamigal, the torchbearer and responsible for the adoption of the great lineage of Dattatreya in South India. As has been seen in the lives of so many great spiritual masters, this is yet another tale of a guru who came to find his disciple and reveal him to the world. Sri Dattananda was able to sense that the time had come to seek his disciple who needed his initiation to transform from an aspirant to a divine guru. Upon the first meeting, the young Sundarajan was stunned by Dattananda's presence and captivated by his words. However, the young 19-year-old was not willing to fold so quickly, not without getting answers to so many questions that were buried deep within him. Those inexplicable experiences Sundarajan had been through from his childhood, the changes that had occurred inside his body that didn't make scientific sense, the expectations of his family, his deep ponderings about earthly life. For 3 whole days, Sundarajan launched questions like arrows from a bowstring. Sri Dattananda patiently answered, providing illuminating responses which impacted the core foundations of the young Sundarajan. With nothing more to ask and clarity about his own path, Sundarajan wholeheartedly accepted Dattananda as his guru and surrendered himself. With delight, Dattananda initiated the young Sundarajan and gave him the name Guru Surajanandha. He became known fondly as Guruji to those around him. For the next 4 years, Guruji engaged in deep spiritual penance and meditation that his guru had taught him. There were occasions during this period he would suffer from serious ill health. However, it was later he realized that every time his recovery had been accompanied by several leaps of spiritual advancement. In 1965, Guruji's father's health started to decline. Realizing that his father's final days were nearing, he stayed by his father's side and cared for him till his final breath, fulfilling all his responsibilities and duties as a son. This was a testing period in his life. On one hand, the longing to unclutch from this illusory world of bondage and pursue spiritual bliss like so many yogis who distance themselves from the human eye. And on the other, his mother and his siblings, who were now his responsibility after his father's passing. Without once considering his family as a burden, he took on the role as the head of the family whilst continuing to follow his destined path of spirituality. Bearing the weight of several challenges and overcoming numerous obstacles, his faith and conviction unfaltering, he brought light to the lives of so many and shone brightly like the sun moving out of an eclipse. Conquering the self and attaining mastery over various forms of spiritual and yogic practices, he emanated transcendent grace as a fully realized Kundalini Yogi. So many flocked to get a glimpse of him upon hearing the glories of this selfless saint, and those who had sight of him till this day remain enraptured by the impact of his presence. He worshipped the vibrant divine embodiments of Lord Hanuman, Sri Narasimha and Goddess Kali. The blessed vermilion Kungumam powder he gave would cure incurable diseases. So many received his grace from all walks of life, whether rich or poor, from all parts of society. People experienced his spiritual beneficence. He responded to the love and calling of all those who sought him. The inconceivable miracles he has performed are countless, traveling through space using his astral body to manifest in a hospital and save the life of a devotee's child who was at the brink of death, ushering in a gentle breeze at will on a still and sweltering summer's day to alleviate the discomfort of a young child, opening up the skies through his prayer to bring torrential rain within seconds to respond to a plea of a female devotee. He performed such bewildering miracles to help those who placed faith and love in him, yet never once talked about his abilities or used them for any self-gain. Beyond the miracles, what was most profound was the love and compassion he indiscriminately showered on all those who came into contact with him. His affectionate warmth created a nurturing sanctuary around him. For so many, he exhibits the care of a mother, the protection of a father, and the unwavering allegiance of a true friend. The serene wisdom in his words brought clarity and peace to the lives of so many, shedding light on age-old questions like what is life, how to seek the divine, how to fulfill your responsibilities. The richness in his wisdom is immortalized through his books written in Tamil. ஞானச்சரம், தத்துவங்கள் 1008, தத்துவ முத்துக்கள், தத்துவ பாடல்கள், ஞானக் கேள்விகள் 1008, and Gita Sangamam. Of these, Gita Sangamam is a text that contains several Carnatic music compositions in Tamil, Sanskrit and Kannada, which are sung by eminent Carnatic musicians worldwide even today. He would often visit the powerful shrine of his supreme guru, Sri Swayambhrakasa Swamigal, situated in the town of Sendamangalam, around 10 kilometers outside the city of Namakkal. He took many of his devotees to this shrine and talked about its spiritual omnipotence and expressed a yearning for there to be ongoing prayers and acts of worship in Sendamangalam. In line with his wishes, the auspicious shrine of Swayambhrakasa Swamigal continues to attract devotees from various continents, with several auspicious spiritual ceremonies being performed regularly. As the head of the family, he had brought his family to a settled stage and fulfilled his worldly duties. It was yet another point in his life where he could turn his thoughts towards pursuing a life devoted purely to spiritual service. Yet, even divine avatars are shackled by the chains of their destiny whilst in human form. Suddenly, Guruji's mother had a paralytic stroke and was bedridden. He understood that this was the will of the divine. Knowing fully well that the mother is a personification of the divine, he devoted himself to caring for his mother. He looked after her like a mother looks after her newborn, day and night for 13 years. Foreseeing the place he would leave behind his mortal coil, Guruji established Yogalaya Ashram in Neelangarai, Chennai in 1987. There he taught meditation and yoga and conducted several spiritual discourses. Devotees and aspirants came to experience his divine commune where everyone was equal. His benevolence was experienced by everyone. He would never refer to anyone as a disciple, but to everyone as a friend, and called them by an endearing term of affection, Karna. In July 1992, his mother's health deteriorated rapidly and she passed away. Like he did for his father, Guruji fulfilled his duties towards his mother also. Realizing that he had fulfilled his worldly duties, he prepared himself to leave his mortal body and merge into the all-pervading consciousness. During this period, he made several references discreetly that he was about to attain Mahasamadhi and often quoted the date of the 15th of September. On that eve of the 15th of September 1992, marked in the Hindu calendar as being Sankatahara Chaturthi, he left his physical body and attained Mahasamadhi. This is an act referenced in Vedic scriptures whereby truly realized masters are able to draw in and channel their senses and merge back into divine consciousness, moving from a state of mortality to immortality. It is believed that such great yogis leave behind their spiritual vibrance, enabling their bodies to act as an anchor that continues to transmit their spiritual energy. Once they leave the confines of the human body, their spiritual grace is expanded and magnified exponentially, becoming boundless in the Samadhi state. The visible evidence of such a phenomenon was witnessed by all those who saw his physical body 3 days after he attained Mahasamadhi, which took on a statue-like form but remained free from any decay that would normally be experienced by a human body. Such beings are buried and a shrine is built and worshipped in their commemoration. Till this day, puja and worship rituals are performed daily in his Samadhi shrine situated in Kadiravansale in Nilangare, Chennai. Hanuman Jayanti is celebrated every year, worshipping the idol of Lord Hanuman that he himself worshipped. Guruji's birthday, known as Jayanti, and his Samadhi day, known as Aradhana, are celebrated annually. In addition to Chennai, Guru Surajanandha Jnanapeetham was established in the year 2006 in a small town named Sundara Perumal Kovil, situated on the Tanjavur-Kumbakonam highway. The establishment of this in itself is a miracle and happened with his blessings. There are so many that came to see him, those that came with suffering, those that came with faith, those that came with skepticism and doubt, have all experienced his mercy and love. They tell their stories of being cured by his divine grace after losing hope from doctors, stories of his blessings that steered them out unscathed from potentially fatal or troubling situations, stories of how they felt his guiding presence at times of great distress, and stories of how his warm and soothing words of wisdom has changed the course of their lives. He lived as a personification of humility, of righteousness, of modesty, and of divine compassion. After leaving his mortal being, he continues to shower his spiritual fervor even today as more and more devotees find their way towards his grace in his Samadhi shrine in Nilangare, in his shrine in Kumbakonam, and in the homes and hearts of everyone who seek him. This saint's epic cannot be described in a few minutes. The tale of a Mahayogi who, having conquered all, continues to walk by our sides and in our hearts as a manifestation of indiscriminate love, compassion, and humility. It is our wish and prayer that we present a detailed account of Guru Surajanandha's life history in due course. We seek the blessings of Guru Surajanandha and that of his Guru Parampara, that this shall reach you soon.